Nick, if you're okay, I'm going to hand over to you. Just do a quick intro and take to the stage.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to talk about what we've been really excited about for the last year and a half and what I feel very passionate about. So, feeling blessed to be here. My name is Nick. Online, I go by Ninty Nick, which is an old gamer tag. I spent a lot of time in the early internet playing big MMOs like WoW and FPSs like Counter Strike, and that was kind of original version of being chronically online. So when I found crypto, I said, okay, let's stay the same. And previous to this, I worked a lot on AI research, and like maybe three-ish years ago, 4 years ago. And I really care about collective intelligence, how we can do things as groups that are a bit greater than the sum of our parts, and especially how we can use interesting new software and technologies to support that type of coordination. Um, so my come from in the DAO space was I saw that I got introduced to the concept in 2017. In 2021, I joined full time and working on Raid Guild and SIF DAO and the Cosmos ecosystem, and really thinking about what excellent governance was going to take. And it's such a pleasure to be here at Colony in particular, because I remember around 2017 starting to follow the Colony platform and say, whoa, okay, this is really interesting. So it's amazing to see how things have unfolded. At Hats, the main problem that we're solving is that DAOs do something very interesting and incredible, which is that they allow a group of people to govern shared resources, whether those are, specific assets like ERC20 tokens or art, um, or now we can share power with one another. And Hats is a way of manifesting and tokenizing that power in specific ways and delegating it to individuals and to small groups to actually get things done on behalf of the collective, while maintaining one of the core value propositions of DAOs, which is capture resistance, or the ability to avoid capture from internal bad actors, external actors, find whales, regulators. We're creating something that honors our sovereignty as individuals and as groups. I don't need to explain that to you all because I've given the audience that I'm in, but that to me is one of the main reasons that we wanted to compose with. We wanted Hats to work fundamentally with any existing DAOs. That we are a composition or composability maximizing protocol at the protocol layer and at the application layer. So doing really interesting things to try to figure out what application layer composability will look like in Web3 broadly. So I can jump into the demo from there. I'm curious for two things. One, if anyone has any questions already that they would like me to address specifically. And then two, if anyone has an idea of a Hats tree that they want to create live, and we can do that as part of the demo, whether it's for your DAO or a specific governance structure that you think is compelling, and we can see how far we can get and how quickly in the demo itself.
Okay, let's have a quick look here. Any questions so far at this stage, guys? Just drop them here in the chat on the side. Can we do a DAO coalition test try? Is this from John? Okay, John, take yourself off mute and just explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I love what Spencer's doing there, and almost like a lobbyist group for DAOs. Let's do like a governing board and then break it down by DAOs if we can do like a little test try on it. That's my pitch for a test if we're gonna do one.
Cool. We could definitely do that. Clint and Manic, since you're here, is it okay if we actually go over the DAO Coalition template, or would you prefer that we build it from scratch?
Oh, no, yeah, feel free to go over anything that's already built. I know Brandon did a lot of work on this, so happy to talk about any of it if people have questions.
Awesome.
And sorry to throw you under the spot, but I just think it's such a huge, such a powerful tool, so I'd definitely love to look into it.
Oh, no, please, yeah, go ahead. Happy to talk about it.
Cool.
Great.
All right, so We're going to keep this as informal as possible and as tech focused as possible because I could wax philosophical a lot. I think you all are probably going to find it much more interesting to. Oh, that's right. That's not the right screen. See the tech. All right. So first thing you do, you get to app.hatsprotocol.xyz. We've got a website that explains what we're focused on. We've got some docs pages that explain both for wearers, we call our users wearers, or for developers, like what the protocol is all about. And we put a lot of love into these docs to try to explain everything that we're going to cover here today, and anything that you might need in order to either use Hats in your DAO or build on top of Hats as a dev, whether that's an integration or a custom module or plugin for Hats. So you've got some of those links here on the right. And then on the homepage, you've got some featured trees. These are trees that we think are particularly interesting, and then some templates. And this is kind of, the templates is an example of something that we think is going to expand a lot because anyone can come in and create a template, and then we have the ability to use right now internal tools, but eventually product functionality to fork these templates and share them broadly. And we think that could be a very interesting way to grow our ecosystem and even value creation throughout the ecosystem. So I'll connect my wallet here, and what's going to happen is that a bunch of my hats are now going to show up. So for example, you can see that I have the product workstream facilitator hat in this DAO called Demo DAO. And as I look at this hat, what I'm seeing here is the whole tree. So this is an example of a DAO that has 3 work streams. Each of the work streams is represented by a nodes to save, and then each of these nodes is a token in Hats protocol that is in particular in this tree. So we took an approach here that uses something we call addressable IDs. So here you can see this is 3.1.2.2, and this is 3.1.2, and this is 3.1. And what you're getting is that the ID itself of the token, that's a modified ERC 1155, has the entire string of admins that are part of the basically chain and have actual admin authority as a parent or grandparent in this over this particular token. This ends up being really important for doing things like using a branch or a particular set of a part of the tree for token gating in various platforms. But it's also helped us just to understand like the way that a tree grows over time. And then of course you can see here something interesting that we did was we are on the front end that we're working on. We took an opinionated approach to parsing the details field of a hat. So if we go over to this contract over on Optimism and we grab the hat ID, this is what it looks like in the app, but I'll show you in a second here what it looks like in the protocol itself. So go to the read contract and go to the view hat function. We'll paste this ID. You'll notice that this long number looks pretty different from 3.1.2.2. But basically, if you were to convert this from decimal to hex and then take out all the extra zeros, you'd get a number that looks like 3.1.2.2. And then these are the actual fields on chain that a hat includes. So we've got, in this case, we've just put the raw text of a string of the name of the hat here. But what we can do is we can automatically pin an IPFS object, a JSON object to IPFS, and then include that in the string, and then parse that into responsibilities, authorities, etc. And if we look at, I'm going to talk about this in a second, but just to show the example, here we have an elected role hat on a different template, and this has the responsibilities and authorities that are parsed directly in the UI, even though those are just a JSON object that's parsed in IPFS. We're really trying to make something that is truly decentralized and, like I said, modular at all the different levels of the stack. You've got a max supply, which you set when you create the hat, and you can edit as long as the hat is mutable. The current supply, and then you have these two really, really important fields. This is probably the crux of protocol, what we call the eligibility and the toggle. And what this is basically a dynamic exposure of the balance of function of the of this particular ERC 1155 token that makes it programmable and makes it so that any Ethereum address can either revoke this hat or turn this hat off. So the base case here is that we set the eligibility and the toggle to the DAO's address. Usually the DAO is wearing the top hat. In this case, we've got David's address because he built this template. But if we were to look at, say, creating a DAO-controlled multi-sig, then the DAO would be wearing this top hat here, and then the multi-sig would be wearing this multi-sig hat, and then the signers would be wearing this signer hat. Jumping to this example, we can say the eligibility address in the base case is generally going to be worn or set to the DAO's address to start. And all that means is that because this DAO hat is an admin of the workstream multi-sig signer hat, it's like the parent in the tree. It can create, it can edit, and mint this hat. But the revocation is set by this eligibility here separately. So we can say that the DAO that's wearing this hat is the admin by way of having the admin or parent hat. And it can revoke this hat by way of being set explicitly to the eligibility address for this hat. But we could also set this to something else. So if you had an accountability council or an elected set of leaders or a CEO hat or a judicial court hat that was in your tree somewhere, you could use the addresses or the multi-sigs that are associated with those as the eligibility address to give a specific set of people the right to revoke this hat. The other thing you can do is you can set this to an arbitrary smart contract. So in this case, in the elected role case, which I think is particularly interesting, what we did was an integration with Joke Race where we have a contest that happens on Joke where we distributed tokens and people voted. We have the top 5 vote getters in this election are going to automatically be eligible for a hat for a term of 6 months. So you can see Spencer and Pros and Brennan here. These people were just based on having been placed in this election and having set the eligibility address for this hat to a particular module that we built that reads the information from this election. These 5 people were automatically given the hat, and they're automatically going to have it revoked at the end of the 6-month term. So that's one example of the power of eligibility within hats. And it's something that we're really excited about because anyone can come and build open source modules that the whole ecosystem can use for integrations with their protocol or on-chain reputation systems or different ways of measuring Sybil resistance and credibility and expertise. That should be the basis for people being delegated specific roles. So that this is just like one of the things that we're probably the most excited about in Hats Protocol. I know we originally asked about going to see the DAO Coalition template, so I want to talk through this a little bit, but I'll just pause here again because my preference is to keep this as conversational as possible. So any questions, any things to highlight, any things to go back to so far? And I'll look at the Discord.
So far, Nick, it looks like we're okay. People are loving it. Yeah, and I don't have any other questions. So I think, okay, Wasabi is typing. Wasabi, if you've got a question, you might as well just take yourself off mute. You want to see the different modules in action. Okay, so let's keep going, Nick.
Cool, the modules in action. It can be a little bit tricky because we want to elected role, we had to actually run an election. We could do this one. So this template here, I just preloaded all of the templates that are on this homepage. So elected roles, DAO controlled multi-sig and signers, permissionless contribution levels. So if we go there, what we see here is it's kind of inspired by forefront contribution zones. Jacob at ATX DAO, also Brennan, we're hashing out something that's reputation focused. So they get template credit on this one. And the base idea is that, you have some sort of reputation system in your DAO. In this case, it's represented by a point system of that's called rep. And as someone is accumulating that rep, I think in our case, this is a non-transferable ERC20, but you could use like Moloch DAO shares or, other things like badges. What As you accumulate that, you will be able to claim specific hats as you reach certain thresholds. So just to demonstrate the possibility of this, what I'll do is I will go to, I need to find the place where I get the rep. 1 second. There's like a rep faucet somewhere. Get rep tokens. There we go. So this is not the way that our UI was designed to like fit the whole template idea in here, but we're still we're kind of working with what we've got so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get from the faucet some reputation points. Let me make sure I don't have any already. Okay, great. And the amount we're gonna need, I think, 100. Someone correct me if I put the wrong number of zeros, please. So what this is going to do is it's emulating, say, a group of people who are using Coordinate Circle to distribute reputation points over their DAO's operations, and as they give those reputation points out to people, you can imagine that they're able to claim. Okay, there we go. Able to claim these hats. So now that I have the hat, I can claim. I think I should have 100, so I should be able to claim this hat, level 1, which is a member hat. So basically anyone who has 1 rep could claim this level 0 hat. It's 100 to claim the level 1. I think it's 500 to claim the level 2. So I shouldn't be able to claim that one, but I will be able to claim this one. We're working on building claims directly into the UI, but right now we're just going to do this directly from the contract. Claim hat. It knows it's me. And it's going to read my reputation. And this particular contract here is where we're looking at the eligibility module. So what I'm trying to show is basically the module in action for your request. So this here is the ERC20 eligibility module. What we have is a factory that's able to produce these behind the scenes. This is a pattern that we really like is, okay, you have the hat, the protocol is like the base level, and then the composability at the protocol level is to add these eligibility modules. And then ERC20 eligibility is one of the types of eligibility module that we've built because we've seen it as something that's commonly desired or needed. And then we have a factory that outputs these. You could write your own eligibility without needing a factory and just plug that directly into hats. It would work out of the box, no problem. Okay, so we're going to claim the hat based on having the reputation and based on the fact that this address is set up as the eligibility for the hat. And you can see that I'm not currently aware, but as soon as this transaction goes through, I should be aware of this hat.
So, Nick, sorry, I think I missed it. So is hats deployed on Optimism or mainnet or multi-chain? I think I missed it.
Yeah, I don't think I covered that. So
No.
We're on mainnet, Gurley, Optimism,
Wow.
versus Poly.
Nice. Okay.
And
Brilliant.
Base, BGN, and Cello are coming very soon.
Sweet.
All this data is being pulled from the subgraph. So there's no database in the back end here. Okay, just so you can see it, I just permissionlessly claim this hat based on having that reputation. So many times you're going to have someone go through the process of an admin minting a hat to a user, and in this case, there's the kind of like modular setup in the background is that this hat is totally claimable, so it doesn't require the manual admin mint. If there are other chains that y'all are interested in using hats on, we definitely can deploy it there. We have to make sure that there's the subgraph support because we primarily work with the graph for that, and they've been great. But we've been just going like building modules, deploying the chains, things like that as specific users need them, because obviously there's a lot of directions that we could go in, but we're just trying to be like tension driven in our development process.
Good stuff. Nick, we've got a couple of questions so far. Let's start with that top one, Clinimatic or Minic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just read it out there, Nick, if you want. Just tell us what this is about.
Spencer can go ahead because he's a member of the ecosystem.
Okay. Spencer, you go ahead. Tell us what this is about.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I didn't mean to detract from Nick's
No
presentation.
worries.
Side note that gets into one of the applications of hats that I think is most exciting, which is a dynamically assigned multi-sig. Because at least conventionally, and maybe there have been kind of workarounds or hacks before this, but conventionally you would need a multi-sig that's kind of statically assigned to wallet addresses, and in order to change that, you would need to manually propose that a new wallet address get added or removed. But this lets you create a multi-sig that's actually assigned to some number of hats, and hats that can be transferred according to whatever logic is built into the hats tree. And if you combine that with the sort of election module that Nick described with Joke Race, then I think this gets into the territory where you can actually have a community of people elect a multi-sig in ways that perhaps weren't that feasible before. But yeah, I just dropped this here in case anyone was interested, but didn't want to take too much time away from this presentation.
No, thank you very much. That's awesome. Nick, do you want to elaborate on this a bit more?
Yeah. First thing I'll say is it's definitely not a detraction. This is in our ethos. What we're really focused on at Hats is to create a truly open source public good, and to create a community and an ecosystem that supports that public good in a way that makes it sustainable and as valuable as possible. So I'm just showing quickly our ethos page, but Spencer has been pretty involved with the Hats community for a long time. So seeing this on the screen as a representation of what Hats can do and why it's valuable to him, and the fact that he put the energy and effort to create this and express, what this thing is to the broader world, is an amazing aligned version of what we are hoping to see more of. So it is explicitly additive to the presentation today and to the ecosystem.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Actually, I think the next question from Jeremy might actually tie into this. He was asking, any plans or anyone planning to build an EAS, which is the Ethereum Attestations Eligibility Requirement Module?
Nice.
You're smiling there, so I don't know.
That's a good nerd snipe. I haven't heard of anyone. One of the things that working on an open source protocol like this is that you don't necessarily know everything that's happening, which is amazing and sometimes very exciting, and sometimes nervous. Makes you nervous. But I'm very excited about attestations as a primitive for reputation. Here in the contribution levels template, we got reputation that was objective, represented by an ERC20. I'm very excited for the possibility of intersubjective reputation, where attestations and overlapping attestations create the base representation of someone's value that they're creating in a given community, and their level of skill and their trustworthiness. And even things that are very hard to quantify, like presence and care. So I would really be excited to see an EAS eligibility module, and I think from a technical perspective, it's very, very possible.
Fantastic. I think you're getting a lot of people excited there. So, Nick, is there anything else you want to cover on this specifically?
I'll just say here are the other examples of eligibility modules that are already built. These all have links to their respective GitHub repos. If you need help deploying any of these or testing them, that's something that we can definitely support you with in a kind of hands-on way. But if you're a dev, you can do all this stuff as needed. To close the thread, I think Spencer's article here does a great job of explaining the role-based multi-sig concept, and it's like one of the most common use cases that we see people ask about. And then the DAO-controlled multi-sig here, the template is kind of like the example version of that on-chain in hats. So you can kind of titrate between these two ways of looking at things in order to kind of really understand what's going on between the DAO and the multi-sig. Would it be better for me to wrap up now and just answer questions, or can I show a couple more things?
No, please go. Please carry on. I'm super excited about all of this. I hope you guys don't mind. We're only about halfway in, so I think there is enough time for you to carry on, Nick.
Okay, great. And let's just keep it, like
Sure.
I said, conversational.
Yeah.
Specific questions. There's two things I want to show. One is edit mode. So one of the things that we really got excited about. So you see this, everything we've talked about so far is like the representation of the way that the tree is. So these are, those hat tokens on chain that are interrelated with one another based on the ID scheme. And a kind of opinionated approach of visualizing that representation. Anyone can build a front end that visualizes a number of ways, and I'll show you how the Sobel team was able to build a front end that takes a slightly different approach. What's really special, and we just shipped recently alongside all the launch information, which we started talking about at the beginning of the call, like about 2 weeks ago, is edit mode. And what this allows you to do is, as a governance facilitator, as a DAO operator, as a DAO member who wants to make a proposal to the DAO, you can come in here and you can create a number of new roles and get an error. And edit them live in the app. So you can see here that we've got this new hat 55.3. We're going to change this to become, we want this to be the DAO. Okay, let's use this specific example, actually. I'm going to revert these changes, and I'm going to add, since we have this the multi-sig itself is wearing this hat, we've got the workstream member, we've got the workstream facilitator, but say this is particularly focused on like a community management workstream. So what we're going to do here is like create a community manager Discord role. A community manager hat, basically, and we'll say that this hat has the responsibility of monitoring the Discord to ensure community engagement, just making stuff up as we go. So we add that as a responsibility, and as a power, what we might do is we say this hat has the community manager Discord admin role. So then what we could do, and we can add an image, all this stuff, we'll save this, and that'll be now represented in our set of draft changes. So you can see, okay, the community manager hat is here. It's got this specific responsibility and this new power of the Discord admin. What we would do is we would take this and connect the actual hat ID into guild.xyz or collabland or something like that to actually connect it to the Discord role. But what we can do now is, since we have this change, but we're not wearing the top hat. Remember that this is controlled by your DAO. So you have like a colony DAO that is actually wearing the top hat. You're not able to go and create or mint this new hat. What you would do instead, if you want to mint it from the multisig or mint it from the DAO, is you can go in here and export the JSON. And what this is going to do is it's going to show you the set of changes, And you could put this on a forum post. You could put this in your actual Discord channel where you're discussing it. Hey, everyone, I think we should make this community manager hat. I'm going to put up a proposal that says that, brings this transaction data to the proposal so that the DAO can make the hat. And then these people can take this hat and they can import it, take the JSON and import it directly into the app here. So if I remove these changes one more time, I'm going to do this edit here. Hopefully, yeah, downloads. We're a little picky about file names at the moment, but we'll upload that back here, import it, and you can see, boom. Now, anyone who is using the app and just comes to this page and wants to see the way that this template can evolve based on your specific proposed changes can import it, and they're going to see the name, the power that you brought in here. It makes it this really wonderful way to be able to collaborate on the development of a Hatch tree. It's kind of like, an early version of multiplayer or like a Google Docs multi-editor for Hatch trees. And then once you get ready to deploy it, you can go down here and grab the transaction call data directly from the hat. So if you're in, I'm sure Colony has a sort of transaction builder for proposals. If you're in like the safe Gnosis safe interface for building transactions, you're going to need the hat's contract address, which will then pull in the ABI, and then you're going to also need this the custom data field. So if you copy and paste this over to the transaction builder, you can now deploy this from the multisig that has the kind of admin authority over the tree. And that gets you the ability to kind of come in here, customize things as an individual, propose it to your DAO as changes that you want to see to the tree, and allow the DAO to execute it without having to give up kind of like central authority to a particular admin or someone who could be an attack vector for the capture resistance of the DAO. We're really excited about this, and we think it's going to be very evolutionary because you can also represent entire templates this way. So you could potentially have a very complex template with many hats and import that here, make more changes, and then save that change and continue kind of discussing it in your discourse forum or whatever it is.
Nick, I can't remember that at the very beginning, was there a section for templates where you can actually get templates from other DAOs that already have them? There you go. Fantastic. That's just brilliant. Yeah. Forkable. Yeah.
Yeah, this is our, we've manually, hard coded these into the landing page right now. The way that we're thinking about it is we imagine that there might be sort of marketplace or app store where people can, share their trees, right? Yeah. So you can see like that Cabin has their tree set up, Cabin DAO, or that people create templates, which are more like forkable branches, which we already talked a lot about the DAO controlled multisig as one example of those. And also, the plugins like the eligibility modules, ERC20, ERC721, joke raise, like where do you actually discover all those and then grab them and add them to your tree? That's something that we're kind of working on over the next few months.
Wow, fantastic. That sounds brilliant. Yeah, I can see how on a marketplace people will start selling templates, like a Notion template almost, if that's a thing in the future. Interesting.
Yeah, there's no reason that you couldn't take the JSON, put it in an NFT, and do an NFT launch that allows you to sell the template and generate some whatever revenue you want. It's all open source. The protocol is AGPL v3, and then most of the modules and integrations that we've written are MIT licensed. So it should be a lot of fun.
Amazing. We've got some incredible responses from everyone in the audience here. Totally blown away by it. But John from Eli 5, I'm going to leave your questions till the end. I just want to give Bruno a chance quickly. Bruno's asking, are you able to show the interface Sobol built for hats?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thank you. Let me think about the one. Okay, so I just built I posted a Twitter thread about like, okay, how fast can I build a particular concept, and in using the Hats protocol app, or like the Hats app that we just walked through, and Sobol is kind of another approach. So Sobol, amazing tool, well known for supporting the bankless community with representing their roles and various things on chain, to help just like with organizational management. They created a custom front end for Hats, and they did this permissionlessly. They talked to us about it, but they didn't have to get our buy-in in order to do this. But I'll say it's a delight for us. It's, again, like what we talked about with Climatic. This type of development within the ecosystem is amazing because it's showing the possibility for this open source public good to be unstoppable and reusable, and people can remix and do whatever they want with it. So what happened here was Trent from Protocol Guild shared this diagram, which I'll see if I can load real quick. And what you've got here is people I'm sure are pretty familiar with Protocol Guild. It's 152 Ethereum devs who they manage membership, and they have a shared treasury, and they have a 0x split that distributes funds that are basically sent to the top address to those 152 people. And they do some really interesting stuff about the way the percentages are managed for the 152 people when the split comes through. So to me, cutting edge in terms of decentralized organizing. And it was really interesting to see, okay, how quickly could we spin this up using Hats? And it took about a little over an hour to use a combination of our tool and the Sobol tool. And what we have here is the basically on-chain representation of this on a test net. So we have a Moloch DAO. We have the Moloch v3 is a Gnosis, is a Zodiac module now. So the treasury is a Gnosis safe, and the Moloch is the module that sits on top of the safe to control it with the voting, share and loot-based voting. And then we have the top hat, which is the Protocol Guild v2 top hat, and that's the admin of the whole tree. This sits in the Gnosis safe in the Moloch DAO. And then what you have underneath this is a member, an onboarding shaman that looks for the member hat in order to permissionlessly add someone to the Moloch DAO. So like we had this concept in the I've opened way too many tabs at this point, which is typical. Let's see. I'll just open it again. In this case, we have a Zodiac module called Hat Signer Gate, which is detailed in Spencer's post here, that looks for the presence of the workstream multi-sig signer hat, and then uses that to permissionlessly allow these hat owners to claim signing authority on this multi-sig. This shaman is the same concept, but for Moloch DAO. So this shaman is reading the member hat to determine if someone should be a member of the Moloch DAO. It adds them and removes them as necessary. So that next level of like automation and permissionlessness, if someone is meeting the criteria, and since the criteria is that a member is this hat is minted by the Protocol Guild top hat, which is the Moloch DAO itself, it's kind of a closed loop type of situation, but you could have this be based on ERC20 holdings or previous contribution badges or anything that you want there. They have a Gnosis safe and signers on that safe, and here you see that again the Zodiac module is represented as a node, and the Gnosis safe is represented as a node. So this is the microcosm of the DAO controlled multi-sig concept here on as part of the Moloch DAO that has a Hats tree in it. And one of the main differences between looking at this tree, this is 5.1.4.54. So if I just jump to this tree in the Hats app, we can look at it in two different ways, right? Sobol took an opinionated approach. They're doing something amazing, which is the combination of multiple different protocols, all represented here, all can be deployed from their kind of unified front end, which I think is an amazing thesis. And then on our side, what we're really focused on is just the hats, the ground truth of the hats themselves. We started this version of the app as a sort of ether scan for hats, and here you don't see the Gnosis safe or the Moloch DAO or the hat signer gate represented as a node on the tree. You're just seeing the hats tree itself, but you can see that this hat wearer 51 F138 36B is the Moloch DAO that is represented here. I think. Oh wow, they just put an iframe in it. That's amazing. This is that's not it's the Gnosis safe. Sorry. So yeah, so the treasury itself, F138 36B, that is the wearer of the top hat here. So now you can see, okay, this is how it's represented in Sobol. This is how it's represented in the Hats app. We are parsing details a little bit differently, but again, looking at that kind of application layer composability and different ways of creating front ends that allow you to get different information in different contexts and create different hats for different use cases. So that's, again,
amazing.
As an open source ecosystem, something that we're really excited about.
Wasabi from Coconut DAO, they have just migrated from V2 to V3 on Moloch. So I think this must be really exciting and sort of getting lots of cogs going and ideas that he has in mind. He's typing at the moment now. Right, so sorry. Aaron is asking, does the onboarding shaman automatically draft the member proposal? Or with the shaman, are you able to bypass the proposal?
Yeah, Wasabi's got it. The shamans in Moloch V3 have different levels of kind of permissions of what they can do automatically, and it's a way of programmatically working around the proposal types. So in this case, there isn't the creation. The shaman's not creating a new proposal.
Yeah,
it's bypassing the proposal because certain criteria are met, and automatically adding them as a member, and also automatically removing them when the time is right.
Amazing. Mind-blowing. This is just fantastic. Okay, guys. Thank you, Aaron, for that question. How are we looking for time? Well, we've got about 10 minutes left, but I would like to carry on with the questions. Unless, Nick, is there something that you want to show before we wrap up? Anything else up your sleeve? No?
I showed so much. I don't even know what else I would show.
Okay, fine. Fantastic. Good stuff. Okay, well, let's see, what other questions? I was expecting circles. Perhaps I got to build another front end.
Yeah. That's a good one. Oren from Gnosis Guild, someone who I really respect, asked about holacracy. Here's the kind of quick and dirty version of that, where you have kind of like fractal circles. So you have the anchor circle represented as a top hat. You have these kind of like sub circles at that level, and then the circle lead, facilitator, and secretary, individual roles, and then how one of those roles evolves into a sub circle itself with its own fractal structure. So yeah, this looks like an org chart, not like circles. So there's probably either a view control or an entirely different app that gives you the ability to look at these as circles, which I think would be really cool.
Totally. Oh, that's just brilliant. Okay, guys, any other questions? Let me just quickly browse through here. If we don't have any, John, maybe we should start with your questions. You've got 5 questions further up here. Where are they? Okay, so how can DAO Club help hats? Okay. So again, Nick, how can we? There's about 30 DAOs in DAO Club. 12 of them are here today. How can we help you?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a generous offer. Right now, our primary focus is to try to build the right tool. And the best way that we know how to build the right tool is to really interact with people who are actively trying to use the tool for specific use cases. So oftentimes the best way you can help us is to use it and then give us feedback. If you want to use it and you're getting stuck, or you see something that you want to try, you want to be able to accomplish, but you don't seem to be able to do it in hats, then articulating clearly the problem that you're trying to solve and sharing that with us, whether it's on Twitter or Telegram or however you like, Discord. We're spending a lot of our time kind of actively interacting with people who are really deeply working on using the protocol and using the app, or building on top of it. So if you're a developer and you're trying to build an eligibility module, or you're trying to integrate hats directly into the front end to handle permissions of your existing app, you can use our SDK for that. And you get stuck, please just get in touch with us, and we would love to help you with that. The second way you can help is actually to do that integration building, whether it's creating templates, creating specific modules for particular use cases, and sharing those out to the broader world and showing how you're using hats. I think that's like directly additive to our ecosystem in a massive way. So yeah, usage, feedback, and then spreading the meme.
Excellent. I think actually, so Nick, you might not know this, but DAO Club is actually a DAO built on top of Colony. So I think it would be a nice experiment for us to maybe deploy DAO Club DAO on top of hats. And do that as an experiment to actually set it up and get people to play around with it, and actually interact with it, as opposed to deploying it for their own DAOs if that's not the right time for them. Yeah,
that sounds great.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, look at that. Okay, so number 2, John. John, we've already answered that question from Spencer. When is there a Colony and Hats collab? Well, I can't say too much about it. All I can say is that Nick and myself and our product guys have already been talking, but that is as much as we'll say at this stage. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on that one. What's the other one? The best way for an individual to get involved in hats. Yeah, Nick?
So what we're working on right now is we're getting started on launching what we're calling our Proto DAO, which is basically like a practice form of our DAO as we start to think about how to decentralize safely and well. And we're going to have basically community members, active contributors, and stewards. And community members will be pretty much open. We have like an eligibility module that asks you to sign a code of conduct or like community agreements, and we built that because we're dog fooding, and you can come and basically participate in the community ecosystem, the Telegram group. And if you're actively working on hats, you can become an active contributor, which gives you the possibility to get reputation points from the stewards of the Proto DAO for the work that you're doing. And those are non-transferable. They don't have a value associated with them, but it's just a way for us to start figuring out, okay, what the core functions of our DAO, seeing work that's out there, evaluating the value that's been created, recognizing people for the things that are kind of the most awesome that are coming out of the ecosystem. That's something that we're kicking off in about a week. And if you want to be on the journey with us, we'd love to have you. So I can share some information afterwards about the ways to get involved.
Fantastic. That sounds incredible. Awesome. So John also just had a final question about an Eli 5 epoch. Now, Nick, you won't be familiar with what that is. So John, do you just want to take yourself off mute, John, and talk a little bit more about what an epoch at Eli 5 is and what that would entail?
Yeah, heck yeah. This is my, sorry, I'm talking from Aaron's too. This is like my pitch from, like I see Jaff in the audience too as a member, but like what we do is we test out like tools, and I think that like just getting into hats would be super cool. I mean, I think the community would be super interested in testing this, especially, like where you guys are at. But yeah, we test out like tools essentially like this and see what we like and don't like, and hopefully give you some killer feedback. So yeah, I think it would be a great candidate for it. So I really appreciate this too.
Awesome. Thank you. That would be huge. We'd love the feedback, and I'm happy to come and chat or demo or whatever would be useful.
Mm-hmm. And they've tested a Colony, I believe is at Aragon, DAO House, Joke Race, I'm not sure. So they are like right on top of every new product and protocol that comes out. So I would definitely recommend that. So why don't you guys get in touch? Fantastic. Let's have a quick look and see if there's any other questions. We're sort of at the top of the hour anyway. So folks, let's just see. Has anyone got any other questions before we go? Or shall we leave it at that? No more questions, no more typing. I think everyone is, pleasantly surprised and just excited about what you guys have built. Congrats, Nick, to you and everyone else on the team. This is super, super amazing. And obviously there's a massively bright future for you guys ahead. So I think, let's leave it there. Anything else from you before we go ahead, Nick?
I'll say thank you so much for having me. It really takes a village. So much of this is really the hard work and the love of a team who's been working on this for the last year. Spencer, David, Scotchpreneur, one of our team members, Ito, someone from Raid Guild named Vid, really pouring their love and their best ideas about DAOs into this thing. So I just feel super blessed to be here and share what we were excited about. Super blessed to have an amazing team working on it. So come get involved and let me know what questions you have. Thank you, everyone.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Just before we go, are you going to be at any conferences in the next 6 months or next year? What have you got planned so we can catch up in real life?
We definitely, we love ETH Denver, so we'll definitely be there.
Nice.
We were just at ETHCC.
Yeah.
We're pretty heads down right now, so not
sure.
too much, but maybe might pick up after ETH Denver next year. So ETH Denver for sure. Okay, well, I think we're already talking about having a DAO Club side event at ETH Denver next year. So that should be a good one. Let's do it. Fantastic. Okay, once again, Nick, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. All the best. And to everyone else in DAO Club. We like I said, we've had 12 people here today, and loads more will be watching this recording. So really appreciate you being here. And have a great time, a great day, and I'll see you next time. Same place, same time. Bye-bye.